Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
See, this you spoke about creative equity. So, would you like to elaborate on this term, creative equity?
Creative equity, I suppose, in this context means uh, working with artists in a way that's not exploitative. I think whether we are institutions or record labels or platforms or more recently AI, there is a history, I think, of artists making work that has been monetized and that people have benefited for, which has not necessarily benefited the artist. So I think as a participant in this panel, that was really what everyone was focusing on, is how can we put the value in the artists to make sure that they are benefiting, as well as the organizations and the companies and the platforms that they work with.
Okay, so basically, what you are saying is that the benefits, the profits should go not just to the people who own the enterprise, but also the artisans, the people who are actually doing it.
Exactly, the people who are doing the work. I'm not sure if it's the same in India, but certainly in the UK, there's often been a culture of artists doing things for free, for exposure, to build their profile. But it's work and it's a living and it's a serious profession being an artist, whether you're a musician or a filmmaker or a visual artist. And so across our various different sectors within the creative economy, I think it's something all of those areas could be thinking about. How do we make sure we're valuing the role of the artist and that they are able to make a living and live and keep making the art that we all enjoy so much?
So, ours has been called a post-industrial society in the sense that now the typical, uh, the factory kind of thing, best presented in Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times, in which man becomes a kind of cog in the wheel, literally. So, is this post-industrial scenario that is that has helped you present this, come up with this kind of idea?
So the post-industrial scenario being like the sort of the digital revolution, where it's not so much
Yeah, so
it's
many things
global.
like 3G printing and so many things are there when people are moving beyond. People want to consume things which are not factory made,
Yeah,
handmade, that kind of thing.
yeah. Um, It's interesting because I think there's probably two different things going on in that question for me. One is around what the technology enables. So, whether it's 3D printing or on a basic level, the internet, I think it makes it much more possible for artists of all kinds to create their work and find an audience for it without relying on necessarily a gallery or a music label. And that's really interesting. It doesn't necessarily solve the questions around monetization, but there is something else there, I think, around the rediscovering of artisan forms in the post-industrial sense. That you're quite right. People aren't looking for things which have come off a factory belt and looks the same. People want things to be distinctive and personalized and
Personalized, so to tailor-made, customized. Yeah.
tailor-made, customized, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's a real, move back towards that. I think certainly when thinking about visual artists, artists with a physical practice who are making sculptures or paintings, there's been loads of hype in the last few years around things like NFTs, which is certainly an interesting thing to think about, and I won't completely undersell that, but um, a lot of the artists who are working and able to earn a living from that are still the ones where, people still want to buy something that looks nice in their house, which is a little bit disappointing sometimes when you're working in a more sort of conceptual phase. But people do also want to sort of explore that and share those sort of processes as well. It feels like there's kind of a renaissance in discovering that. Certainly in India, it feels like there's a real renaissance in old craft movements that are now being explored in new formats like 3D printing, for example. And I've just come from Bangalore where I've seen some really interesting examples of that.
Well, i- this in India, I mean, we are not exactly an industrial society, so to speak. Industrialization is yet to. I mean, are we as Indians? Are we jumping from the pre-industrial to post-industrial, kind of bypassing the stage of industrial society?
Oh, I don't know if that's a question that
Okay.
I can answer. This is my third day in India, so I feel like it would be disingenuous of me to try and answer a question that large.
Okay. My last question that will be the trend you talked about. Is this trend already set, or it has to take off? This equity thing, creative.
I think there's absolutely examples of that's happening, things which are building artist equity. I think it's different in every sector. One of the examples I guess I spoke about in the panel I just talked about was with the example of the musician Holly Herndon. He created something called Holly Plus, which is a machine learning tool that she's trained on her own voice, but it's open source, so anyone can interact with it and has the potential to monetize it if the community sort of agrees that's the right thing to do and the collective benefits. I think there's another sort of interesting example of Wu-Tang Clan, really big hip-hop group who released one copy of an album several years ago, which was bought by this kind of farmer bro business guy called Martin Shkreli. When he was exposed as a fraudster, the government seized the album, which he had bought for $2 million, and a group of artists in America formed a collective to raise $4 million to buy the album back from the government, and are now selling small shares in the album. I don't know who makes money from that, but I definitely think that these sorts of examples, which are sort of conceptually testing the boundaries of that, it will be really interesting to think about these decentralized ways in which artists can make money from their work without the need for galleries, labels, or these sorts of entities. I don't think they will ever disappear entirely, but I think it's certainly food for thought.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you.